Hey Harry, hope you're well and thank you for your video update. And first of all, I just want to say I'm so glad that you're finding coaching to be such a positive experience. I'm always a little bit nervous, I have to be honest, when I take on other personal trainers who are coaches themselves and like knowledgeable, good coaches. Because I'm like, well, what can I add? What benefit is there of me coaching them? Because they obviously have access to like lots of the same like resources and knowledge as I do, and they're arguably as knowledgeable as me. And then I have to just give myself a kick up the arse and be like, well, actually, even I'd benefit from having a coach as well, and coaches need coaches, and it's more than kind of just bullshit testing, and it's more than just textbook knowledge. There's a lot that goes into it. So, but it's good to hear that you're getting so much out of it. That's really good to hear. Glad that sleep's up, but general activity levels down. It sounds like overall diet fatigue has built up over this mesocycle, which doesn't surprise me. I also don't think weight loss has quite been where we might expect it to be, but that's not taking into consideration your background, in that your background was relatively low volumes, whereas we're doing high volumes. So you may well have actually seen a bit of a recomp and gained some muscle, which is fucking cool. What I would say is if you can get some update measurements and photos during this deload, that would be awesome, just so we can see what changes have been made. And like you said, then that will allow us to plan for future and whether we want to go for any more dieting, or if we can book in that photo shoot, or like what dates, because we can assess how lean you are and where we want to go with that. So that would be really cool. So in terms of future mesocycles, when we're dieting, we'll always be higher volume. We want to provide the maximal signal for muscle growth when we're dieting, so we can sustain our muscle the best way. That is the best way to sustain muscle. The only time you really want to kind of push for intensity and for strength and things like that, that doesn't provide sufficient volume for maximal growth. So when you're trying to gain muscle, when you're trying to lose fat, I see that as perfect time to use higher volume, hypertrophy work. And then when you're happy with, or you need to take kind of a sit. Once you're happy with where you are, you maintain and go through strength. Because then you can focus on intensity, you can focus on hitting PRs, you can focus on load on the bar, but the volume there is too low to build maximal muscle, and so you're better off just maintaining. So in terms of macros, so you said feeling much more food focused, finding it harder to stick to things. You are sticking to things, but you're finding it harder. So thank you for sticking to things, but obviously finding it harder. And your satiety has dropped quite a lot. So looking at your energy levels, they're actually up on the week on average, but you had that one very low energy day. Hunger, is up on the week, and steps are actually level, but it's interesting to hear that you feel like your just kind of general energy and your general activity feels like it's down. That's interesting. I certainly have days where I'm like, Steve, you've been sitting a lot today. Steve, you've been slouching a lot today. Even if I hit my steps, I have those indicators to tell me. I look to my watch as if you'd know, even if I hit my steps, or Fitbit. So anyway, I'm glad motivation to train is high, however. That's really positive. And I'm glad you're loving training and that recovery is fine. However, feeling kind of just generally fatigued, which I understand. There is a different kind of fatigue when you could like have volume fatigue versus like intensity fatigue. When it's like strength training fatigue, it's kind of like joints kind of hurt more than ache. And then you kind of have a bit of lethargy, and kind of the brain is a bit more kind of CNS, as it were. Whereas volume, it's like just full body, just like, feels maybe not sore, but like just generally the whole body just doesn't really want to move. To record two different weights, because I know you asked about this, just put one weight in and then put a comma and put like ×1 or ×2, however many sets you did with that weight. It will screw up the volume calculation for the short term, but it's not a problem. So that'd be fine. And then, yes, good to know on leg press, calf raises. I think that would be a good kind of move towards those, because you can do those pretty safely and securely as well and control the range of motion there. But we're coming into your deload. So through your deload, I've raised your calories. So this is basically a deload and diet break kind of put into one. So it's going to really act as like a way to kind of get rid of a lot of the diet fatigue. Multiple days of eating more is going to have a massive benefit for you. And what I would say is, if we can focus on making sure the first kind of 3 days are that higher carb, the rest of the week can be like protein and calories. So you can allow yourself to eat a bit more junk if you wanted to. Just because short term, we want to replenish glycogen stores for sure. Longer term, it's just about calorie intake. So if after 3 days you want to kind of lower your carbs a little bit to allow for some higher fat food, then absolutely go for it. And then we'll look at your photos and we'll make some assessments for your next mesocycle and next phase of training, and look to potentially find a time to book a shoot. So that's everything from this time, Harry. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.